G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game, a very special casted game. Spawning in on the north side of the map in the colour orange, representing Team 3D, playing as the Malians, it be. And on the south side of the map in the colour blue, playing as the Ottomans. We've got ourselves a little bit of a DLC matchup right here, representing my insanity. It is going to be TheMista. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to EGC TV's Call to Arms. We've spoken about it in the last couple of videos, and finally, it has arrived. It has arrived, finally. And I tell you what, I'm so excited for it. TheMista, I don't know where he's been. He's been practicing on a hidden account somewhere, probably on the farm, and he's finally here. He's finally in front of us. I'm incredibly excited to see if he's still got it. You know, I think that's what's so impressive about TheMista, is there's always just something that he's got up his sleeve. And here we get to see him on arguably, objectively, the worst civilization there is in the game, according to the YouTube comments, which is very important, because if there's two things in life that are facts, number one is that the sun is going to always rise. Number two, it is that the YouTube commenters are always going to be correct. So, I guess we move on from here. Make sure you check out EGC TV. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch this live. If you're interested in checking it out, every Saturday, Sunday, 15 GMT, if I remember correctly. If not, apologies. But it's normally an hour after my videos go live. And I say normally because I know this one's going to be probably a little bit later than normal. But anyway, look, let's get to it. Let's talk about this matchup. This is a fun matchup. Obviously, these two civs were both added in together at the same time. So we actually saw quite a bit of the development of this matchup happening just simply because it was, you know, the Malians and the Ottomans. They were both new civs, and so we put them against each other, and we already start to see Mista opening with the military school here, which means he's going to be able to put on some pressure towards that Malian player. But take a look at this. We've got a back gold spawn, which is really going to make it a little bit more difficult for Mista to harass this. Now, one of the other things that B may be looking to do, he's not going to do it, he could have looked to have done it, is go for the landmark out over on the Malian gold pit mine, but instead just going to be throwing down the Mansa Quarry underneath the town center. Nice little spot he's got for it, and take a look how many vills he's rushing this up with. 8 villages. Really, really quick age up here. You're going to be looking at just over 3 minutes for something like this. This is crazy quick. Now, there's another prospect here, and that's going to be the prospect of trade. It doesn't look like the spawns for the trade posts have been the best spawns, though, so there is the risk that if you go for something like a trade over here, maybe even over to this corner, that it is a little bit exposed compared to something that's on the back fence. By the same token, obviously Mista could look to do something similar. Ottoman trade is pretty damn decent, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how he goes about it. Take a look at that age up time. Mista not even clicked up yet. Mista just enjoying, you know, he's out having a lovely stroll out there. Whereas B, his opponent, 3 minutes and 17 seconds into the game, Mista hadn't even clicked up yet, and he's already feudal age. So he's going to have a game on his hands, that is for sure. Now, we've talked plenty about Mista. Let's talk a little bit about B. If you're not familiar with B, he's obviously been around in the scene for quite some time. I'd say they're very similar players. Both of these players, I wouldn't necessarily call them underdogs because they're both really good players, but I would say that they're very creative in their styles, and often we do see new things come out of it. We've seen B pioneer a number of different styles, TheMista as well. Well, I'm very excited to see this, because I can tell you right now, this isn't going to be the only game we cast in this series. This is a series. It's a best of 5. This is the first game. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited for it. So let's take a look over at the base of B, see how he's doing, see what he's up to, and take a look and see whether he's planning on doing any of those cattle shenanigans. We do see the mill is going to be coming out relatively early, and this is quite a forward mill as well. Doesn't look like he's got a lot of sheep underneath, and perhaps that's going to be the case here. He does manage to bring quite a few of them back, though, 6 sheep, but I guess in the interim, just going to be moving out to here. But we have seen this 1TC style of play coming out from the Malians recently, so there's a part of me that thinks maybe that's what we see here. Another interesting thing to note is that there's a lot of gold that's coming through from this Mansa Quarry. When B goes about putting down this Mansa Quarry so quickly and getting it up, this is the equivalent of 2 villages that he's getting access to. Whereas if he was to rush this up, obviously then you're going to be delaying getting those 2 villages, quote unquote. You know, they're not really villages, but you get the point. It's the equivalent of those 2 villages a lot earlier. So it means that he's able to leverage that gold, and we do see upgrades starting to come through. The double broad axe, most notably, going to be coming in now, but there is the first of the cows, second one on the way through as well. He's already got the cattle ranch down, so beginning nice and early to get these cows out before the 5-minute mark, and it's already out. But over on the other side of the map, though, Mister, he's aged up now, and it looks like we're going to be seeing ourselves a second town center coming out, so I suspect he's probably going to be scouting out this cattle. I know that there's a military building down here. I think it was a barracks. Indeed, it was a barracks, and we do see it's going to be just a Donzo coming out early on in this game. We'll spot out the landmark. Mansa Quarry. I'm curious whether he comes in and sees the cattle ranch that's placed down here, because that should be a little bit of a tell as to what the plan of the opponent is. Obviously, he sees the stone outcropping here as well, so he knows that there's not going to be that second town center. Could be a fast castle. I'm not sure whether he's... I know that he did scout out the gold recently, but obviously with no villages on it, that also gives you a bit of information. But now that he's seen the mill, he will spot the cattle ranch, and that immediately gives him the sign. Okay, my friend, it is time to play ball. Second cattle ranch is out as well. And you can see that he's leaving a gap here as well, which means that there's prospect of a big cow landmark coming through. One of the best landmarks in the game. I mean, not really. I mean, if you're talking about like best landmarks, Kremlin's up there. What else is like? If you were doing a tier list of landmarks, what else is up there? I guess the School of Cavalry. That's a pretty damn good landmark as well. I guess you could go the Council Hall as well. That's another damn good landmark. I mean, there's a lot of good feudal age landmarks, but we do hear the first Vizier Point going to be coming through, and it looks like we might have just gone for Anatolian Hills. There's a lot of sheep in here, and these ones in particular look to be all scattered around there. 14 sheep, 2 underneath, and we saw 6 behind from B, which doesn't leave many left to be on the map out here. So I'm suspecting he's probably gone into Anatolian Hills for a little bit faster mining. Of course, a little bit of extra food as well. There are other options for you, but it depends the type of style that you want to play. And I think in a matchup like this, you probably don't need to rush Castle Age as the Ottomans. It wouldn't make a huge amount of sense, especially with that second TC. But now that that second TC is coming up, that extra food is going to guarantee that he's got the ability to make these villages and transition into whatever he needs to do. But you can also see that he's got the hunt here as well, so he's going to be a very happy camper. Blacksmith now coming up. Going to be throwing down the stable as well. And just both players playing it somewhat passively at this stage, continuing just to push out cows. It's going to be that classic age-old question. I was going to say, what came first, the chicken or the cow? But that doesn't really work. What came first, the second TC or the cow boom? I've got a sneaky suspicion it's not the cow boom. Don't get me wrong, I love cows, and I've seen, I mean, I can't say too much, but as you guys would know, I talk about these things with devs, with the pro players, and there has been an overwhelming voice from the pro players that Malian cows are quite strong in their current state. Now, whether that applies to the feudal age as well, I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely feels like at the moment, the feudal age Malian cow boom is a little bit weaker than the second TC. So I'm curious to see exactly how B's going to be able to do this, and undoubtedly he's accounted for this, because if we ride on board with him, we can see he's got the scout out. He's just run past the stone. He knows exactly how much has been taken off the top there, and so he can do the math and say, okay, there's a second town center in play here, so he should know what to do. He's a pretty good player. He's definitely in my top 5. You guys know the top 5 gets a little bit full sometimes, but he definitely makes the cut. A little bit of a wall coming in. This is an exciting wall. Whenever I see a wall like this tells me that there's a chance B might be thinking about doing the old Traderino. Let's have a look and see where these villagers go and whether he looks to send one out down towards this east corner, because that's where you're going to be making those big bucks. If he ends up throwing a market down here and getting some trade going, tell you what, he's going to be laughing. He's going to be laughing all the way to the bank. All right, well, taking a look at the resources, he's got 13 villagers on gold at the moment, so there could be an opportunity here to head towards that castle age. Not a whole lot of other gold producing or gold using things. He's obviously got the javelin throwers, he's got the cows, but other than that, I mean, it doesn't really make sense to have... maybe it does. I mean, he's kind of rounding out on the cows now at this point, though. You're up to... What are we talking about here? We're at 9, 18, so that's going to be your 20th cows coming out right now. And now a little bit of a attack coming in at the same time. Scout on the south side, probably going to get taken out. Indeed it does. So Sipahi going to be the cause of that. So nice little pick up there from Mister. It's going to mean that B has to head back to the drawing board, look for an alternative way to scout out his opponent. He's kind of left in the dark now. Does mean, though, Mister maintains control, maintains decent map control here. Donzo's getting a couple of shots off. And a very passive opening so far from these two players, just feeling each other out. It kind of feels like, you know, whenever you watch the UFC or the boxing and the first round, all they're doing is they're just kind of throwing out those little feelers. And, you know, and then it gets to, you know, 2 minutes into the round and people start booing. It's like, I'm booing at this point. We're 10 minutes in. I'm switching it over to the income per minute. We've barely lost a single unit in the entire map. The only thing we've lost is that scout. The boos are starting. Boo, boo. What are they booing me? No, they're saying boo-earns. I'm saying boo-earns. I'm saying booey. Yeah, anyway, let's move on. We got the castle age coming through now for Mista. Second vizier point should be through by now. I'm curious which direction he's gone into. We'll take a look and see whether we can spot meta or whether we can spot imams. It doesn't look like it, so maybe he's saving it. Maybe he's just gone into military, his military academy, the additional military school. But now those Sipahi are going to be looking to put pressure up on that top side. It looks like we've got solid walls coming through all the way at the moment. Age up's coming through as well from B. So just a very interesting castle age push for both of these guys, or castle age play for both of them. We'll hear that next vizier point coming through for Mista now. Perhaps that is the second vizier point coming in. He's got plenty of food underneath. Nice little deer push as well, which we didn't mention earlier. But now that wall going to be under pressure. Definitely not enough Donzos here just yet. There's plenty more of them coming though. A little bit late on the reaction there from B. Perhaps cautious that his opponent may be looking to try and bait him off towards a different angle. Wall does fall. Villager going to be coming out looking to rebuild and repair. And now Mista heads back towards his base, down on score by about 300 points at the moment. Not completely walled off for B though. Take a look at this. He's still got a pretty big opening towards the front, and perhaps that's what he was cautious about leaving open. We'll check back towards the base of the Mista. He's up to 3 military schools now. Remember, that is the passive one. Not the passive one, but the natural one that you get. You can also look to upgrade that from 3 to 4 with the vizier points. Hasn't gone for that just yet, from what we can tell. A little bit of an awkwardly placed blacksmith. You can see there's a lot of things blocking out the positioning for it, but he still manages to get quite a decent number of buildings in there, getting the most important one, the MIA, in there as well. Now, obviously, in the castle age, part of the reason why you want to always try and make sure that your buildings are in the radius of the blacksmith is because of that faster production rate. And it includes those units or those buildings that make units for free. It looks like we've got ourselves a little bit of a breakthrough here. He's going to immediately look to target down the cows. First one goes down. We didn't even see the health drop off that bad boy because it is cattle. And look at the cow slide off the edge of the cattle ranch. Poor little guy. Unfortunately, that's going to cost you quite a bit in terms of Sipahi right there. Veterancy comes through on those units. A little bit of extra health and a little bit of extra armor, but it's an unfortunate loss for the Malian civilization. I guess we could call it that, the Malian civilization. And where does B go from here? So he's on 1 TC. He's gone for a cow boom. Great, check those things off the list. I feel like at this point you want to be adding in relics. That to me seems like the next natural point that you should go to. You know, you're playing that 1 TC style. It just makes sense because you want to do everything that you can to boost your economy on that 1 TC without having to add the second TC. That's the kicker, right? I guess you could also look for additional pit mines. That could be one of your options, but I mean, yeah, you've got this second one here. I guess the third one, yeah, coming. I'll accept it. I'll accept it. Imported armor coming in as well for him. Nice little infantry mass beginning to build here. One of the things I'd love to see from B is just walling off the front, and that's what it looks like we've got happening right now. What you want to really avoid are those run-bys, and we've already seen Mista do it once. Don't let him get it happening again, and you can see right now, this is so painful. You've got cattle that's listed as 20 out of 20, and that's because 2 of them are dead on top of this cattle ranch, and it's so painful as a Malian player to have this happen. One of the worst things that you can do is lose your cows like that, because it means you have to eat them, and then they can go back to being delicious food for you passively. But towards that north side, just a handful of Donzos. Going to be able to push away those Sipahi at the front. We've got the scout with it as well, looking to move down onto the south side. The mangonel is out. I'm curious as to whether B has brought anything with him, and throwing away a couple of sofas there. A little bit of a mistake there from B, losing out the 1 sofa. But you've got to keep in mind, at this point, it's imperative that B has got a response to the mangonel. You can try and see how you go with the sofa warriors, but the reality is up against a player like TheMista, he's going to be able to control his army, his Mangonel, in a way that guarantees the integrity of it. You won't be taking it out with cavalry. You're going to need to resort to a springald. So I wouldn't be surprised if we take a look back here and check the base and see, is there a siege workshop? Perhaps not yet. Maybe just going to be waiting for those imams to come out. We do see that they are in queue. He's got double imam at the moment, so he's going to be transitioning into relics, which is definitely the right call. Let's check in with TheMista, though, and see how he's doing on that south side and whether he's looking to do the same thing, and indeed he is. The mosque begins to go down. So normally, whenever you're taking relics, the most important thing you want to do is start by taking the relics in the center of the map. And then once you've taken those 3 central relics, then you can look to take your own safe relic. Of course, that's always dependent on the state of the game, the position of the game. And then once you've taken the relics, you can always look to try and take those sacred sites. That's normally how it goes, but each game is different. It's important to note. Each civ's got different strategies, but that's a general rule that you can follow. But it looks like the imam now will get picked up by TheMista, and TheMista going to be coming in, looking to try and find some scraps on the back here. Manages to bait away a pretty decent portion of that so far. Keep in mind, he's also got this beautiful forest here, blocking out a huge amount of surface area. If that Mangonel wants to come and park itself right against that edge, there is no way that bad boy is going down. And now we've got players starting to head up towards that mid-100 population. TheMista in particular at 140 at the moment. Keep in mind, he's been on 2TC this whole time, up against the Cow Boom, playing the worst civ in the game. Keep in mind, according to the YouTube comments, some players would have you believe that it's actually quite a decent civ. If we take a look at the win percentages as an example, they're not doing too badly, but win percentages, you know, small sample sizes, all that jazz, we don't really pay attention to those. Kind of like YouTube comments. I'm just kidding. We pay attention to those. It's the Reddit comments we don't pay attention to. All right, well, on the south side, a little bit of a raid coming through, trying to push the multitasking, but at the same time towards the front, big attacks are coming through. Janissaries, numbers aren't that thick, and you can see the javelin throwers, copping a huge hit. The double Mangonel on top of them, just ripping it apart. Donzo's doing a decent job on the front line, though. There's a lot of ranged infantry on the back here for TheMista, and it looks like he's going to be able to hold. We can see that the numbers are doing very well for him, and now B's going to have to head back to the drawing board with his infantry mass. The Imam also going to get chased out of here and told to go back to the pavilion. He's got 3 relics in the bag at the moment, though, and you can see behind this, B is causing absolute havoc for TheMista. He's taken out 7 workers so far, and that continues to climb. Keep in mind, TheMista has been on 2TCs for a while, so he's not really going to notice this as much as if the raid was to hit B to the same extent. You know, we're up to double digits here. Almost double digits here. Almost double digits. There we go. Double digits. So it doesn't really hurt him that much, but, you know, it still hurts losing Anvils. You don't want to be losing that many workers this early on. But we do see... So we've got 2 relics in the bag. 1 more relic coming home. I will note these are at the front of the base as well, which is great if you want to get those imams out quickly, but at the same time, it's a little bit dangerous if your enemy's got 2 Mangonels and has decided to steamroll down your base, which is what may be happening. So we do hear those relics getting picked up, probably getting put in the back of the base. Siege Workshop finally coming out. I can't help but feel this Siege Workshop is way too late. I don't understand how B decided fighting then was appropriate when there's Mangonels. Like, sure, you've got good micro B, I give you that, but you can't split against double Mangonel, especially when you've got micro like TheMista, who knows when to hold it, he knows when to fold it. I wish I knew the lyrics to the rest of that chorus, because I'd give them to you, but I don't. Mangonels get some big shots off on those cattle ranches, looking to target the heart of the Malian economy. And now around over towards that west side and the south side, we've got B looking to try and push in. Sofa Warrior's going to get caught. Janissary's getting in on top of it. Mangonel's looking to push up. He's going to be able to manage to get Sofa Warriors on top of them, but you can see how quickly those Janissaries take them out. It is not even going to be close. The Mangos continue firing away. Full health. Keep in mind, these guys can be repaired up by the Janissary, so it's not even going to be close here. And I think this might just be a good game. He's got double the military at this point, almost triple the military. There you go, triple the military. 3rd Mangonel's rolling in. That's it, that's game. I'm calling it right here. Let's go game 2, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. I'm feeling it. It's just, there's just too much tempo. How do you deal with this many units? You get a spring out? Sure, look at the Sipahi though. All of the cattle are dying as well, so you're losing out on that economy. The Janissaries just absolutely destroying the Malian player right now. B is head in his hands. He's not feeling good about the state of this game, that is for sure. And now we see a couple more Sofa Warriors trying to sneak out on the backside. Not going to be able to find it. More coming out now. But still, look at these shots coming in. Is he taking out the cattle with the mangoes? Look, what? No, get it? Look at the Janissaries, dude. To anybody who says the Janissary is a weak unit, take note of what you have just witnessed. You have witnessed an absolutely beautiful timing push by TheMista. It sounds like we've got double Springles out. Indeed we do. Took him a while to react to it, but he's still going to be able to take them out. And I think at this point the damage has been done. He's going to be able to camp the base. He's going to be able to take out all the cattle ranches. And once the ranches are dead, it's so hard to rebuild from here on a one base Malians. A good game gets called, ladies and gentlemen. That is it. You get to see it. TheMista is back in amazing form. First game of the series. He is going to take it. The Ottomans are going to have a victory on the board. Chalk that one up, YouTube comments. Make sure you talk about how weak the Janissary is. I can't wait to hear it. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.